WandaVision Episode 9 is releasing on Disney Plus this Friday, and with it being the final episode, it's now time to theorise and predict what could be the big reveals that the cast and creators have been teasing over the months. In particular, I'm going to be discussing the best theories and predictions for WandaVision Episode 9 in the aim to build the excitement for whatever comes our way this Friday. This video will also contain spoilers from WandaVision Season 1, so if you do happen to be someone who isn't caught up on the show, then I would recommend watching this video later on. If you want to see more videos on all of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, including the finale of WandaVision this Friday, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. But without further ado, let's dive into the latest theories and predictions surrounding Episode 9 of WandaVision. So, WandaVision is on an enthralling story arc after the release of the recent episode, and while Marvel and comic fans are wondering what's going to happen in the finale, many are speculating and theorising on social media and forums over what's going to happen next. Let's take a brief look at some possible WandaVision ideas for Episode 9, including my own personal predictions based on this information. Starting off with Pietro, there's obviously been rumours for weeks now based off who he could actually be in this story and whether this character is going to introduce the bigger multiverse. Based on what we are hearing, I think the most likely and obvious choice is that this Quicksilver is going to turn out to be the X-Men version of the character. Popular theories state that he was pulled from the multiverse when Wanda needed her brother to manifest, and as Agatha mentioned, MCU Quicksilver was already dead, so in the twist to this, Evan Peters' Quicksilver was pulled from the X-Men universe. Obviously, he probably doesn't see things that way inside of the Hex, and we know that most of the people inside are trapped within and cannot talk about their real selves until Vision or someone with the ability can pull them out of the trance. Could we see a scene in the final episode where Pietro gains access outside of the Hex or finds a way to realise who he really is? And will this come with the reveal that he is in fact the X-Men version of the character? Well, I think this is very likely, and it would again be a perfect introduction to the multiverse and maybe other X-Men. We might not see all of these characters in the finale, but it would be a good taste of what's to come. Another theory that seems most likely based on what happened in the ending and the post-credit of Episode 8 is that the two Visions we know in this story are going to fight come the big action scene in the finale. We have the standard Westview Vision and the White Vision that was crafted by Hayward in the last episode. But what takes this theory further is that there could also be a possibility that the Westview Vision will have his soul transplanted into the White Vision's body so he can become a completely autonomous and independent being. We know Wanda is missing the real Vision, and in the last episode, we saw how she created the Westview Vision that has been in the show from the beginning. But what many of us want to know is, can Vision come back, and what will happen to his character going forward? Well, if his soul transported into this now White Vision that it looks like they are going to have to stop, it would give potential to bring the character back and in a new way. Now, even though I think this is possible, I personally don't want to see this happen and would rather watch a dramatic ending where Wanda has to let Vision go. I think it would be more powerful after the events of Episode 8, and it would really open up a different route to take in another season or in different MCU entries. Wanda's grief is one of my favourite parts of this show because it shows what she would sacrifice to have a normal life, but in her position that just isn't possible. We'll have to see, and it would be cool to see Vision come back in a new form, but again, I don't think it would do the show the dramatic justice it deserves. And speaking of White Vision, the next theory, and is probably more of a prediction, is that the voiceover behind the character may have already been revealed. James Spader, the voice actor of Ultron, has been credited for one of the episodes on Google, and there's a good chance that the character he is going to voice could be the voice of WandaVision. Now, we have to take this with a grain of salt because it is credited on Google, but if this is true and it turns out to be James Spader, then there's also a good possibility that WandaVision will have the personality of Ultron. It would connect to Wanda's past events and would make her want to take him down even more after the death of her real Quicksilver brother in the second Avengers film. With all of the other connections to Age of Ultron in WandaVision, it makes me think that this prediction is more likely and it would bring more weight to the robotic character that's only just being introduced. There's going to be a huge battle in the final episode, so having this character there would only raise the stakes and make fans more connected to the action going on. And with the mention of that massive fight, it's theorised that it will involve everyone that we've seen so far. This includes the Sword Agents, Agatha, Wanda, Vision, and their kids. Quicksilver, Monica Rambeau, and Jimmy Woo are also theorised to be joining this fight against Sword, and if this does turn out to be true, then I think we know where most of the reported $200 million budget for the show went into. Now, I have my own prediction on what could happen in this fight and how it could set up the future of the MCU. I think that the Hex is going to be the big talking point in this episode, and I think it could result in being the entry or the main connection to the multiverse. I think that we are going to see the next evolution of Wanda's powers, and whatever she does, my theory is that it will react with the Hex and cause a collision with the multiverse itself. This then could lead into the Evan Peters Quicksilver reveal we talked about before, and give way for the entry of a familiar Doctor Strange. This is just my own theory and what I can see them doing after the focus we've seen placed on how the Hex works, and also a focus on Wanda's evolving powers in the flashback scene last week. It makes me think that something like this will happen to connect the dots and evolve where we are going. But coming to the final few theories and predictions, for weeks now there have been rumours that Agatha, who we found out to be behind all of the recent influencing of Wanda, could be working for a bigger villain behind the scenes. Now, these theories have leaned towards the villain being Mephisto for many of these episodes, and while I would like to see this happen, the one that has arose more frequently over the last week is the character Nightmare. The theory claims that whoever this is will show up in the last episode, and it could effectively set up the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, we know that Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff is starring alongside Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange in that film, and with there yet to be a villain revealed for the project, then the end of WandaVision setting that up is a high possibility. I think that they will focus on Agatha being the main villain of this final episode, but when it comes to the very end of the post-credits, there's a big chance that this will happen. The most likely for me is that Doctor Strange or Wong are going to show up in the last episode, or at least the mid-credit scene, especially when seeing how the events of WandaVision are heavily magical, and Doctor Strange protects the Earth from out-of-control or evil sorcerers. It would make sense, and it's probably something that feels over-talked about right now, but I guess we'll just have to see which route they take. But yes, I personally do think that the villain is Nightmare, and I also predict that this villain is actually Hayward. He's been pulling the strings for some time now, and with the reveal of constructing White Vision, I wouldn't be surprised if the outcome of this battle resulted in him becoming Nightmare, or a reveal that he was the big bad character all along. Alongside this, bringing in Doctor Strange would also set up the events of the Multiverse of Madness really well. We can only wait to see if this comes true, but I do think that there's something else with Hayward that they are hiding, especially after the post-credit scene in episode 8 and his manipulation throughout the show. The last theory to talk about surrounds who the big cameo reveal could be that Paul Bettany and the crew has teased over time. Bettany had originally said that in WandaVision he is working with an actor that he has always wanted to work with, along with Elizabeth Olsen saying that there will be a reveal in the show that is along the lines of Luke Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian. Well, for weeks we have all theorised and said that this reveal could be a character like Magneto or Professor X, and I do think these theories are possible, but recently articles have come out claiming that this was a misdirect and that the reveal Olsen was talking about could have very well been that Evan Peters Quicksilver scene from a few weeks ago. In the new Forbes article, it was also claimed that Paul Bettany was actually trolling fans and was talking about himself, and that in fact he meant that acting alongside himself was actually the weird and cool part about it. So does this mean that really the only cameo we can expect is Doctor Strange in the post-credit scene or James Spader as Ultron? Well, it seems likely after this article, and I wouldn't go into this final episode expecting Magneto or Professor X to show up, as they've still got to get to the end of certain plot points that have been building for weeks. There's only so much story you can tell in one episode, and alongside them setting up where we are going next, it honestly feels like it would be too much at this point. I would like to see Magneto or someone like that pop up, but at this stage and after this particular article, I just think we might be wishing too much with something like that. We'll have to see, but regardless of this, I think all of the theories and predictions raised make for a potentially satisfying conclusion. As long as they can tie the story of this season together, bring some great action, reveals, and give us something to look forward to, then I think regardless of what happens, it could be a very good ending. But that was my brief video on the theories and predictions for the finale of WandaVision. Episode 9 will be out this Friday, and after a long and exciting storyline, the show will come to a close and open Phase 4 of the MCU to bigger possibilities. Myself and fans cannot wait to find out what's in store from Marvel, and everyone can watch this episode, including the rest of the season, on Disney+. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and overall, I'm intrigued to hear what all of your thoughts are on the theories alongside your predictions for the end of the show, so let me know down below in the comment section. For more content on shows like WandaVision, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating. I am covering and bringing constant updates on all of the new Marvel shows, so make sure to keep a lookout for whenever I post. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.